let's talk about you moving into the city, because it would be really nice for you to move into the city and live closer to us. Because
Yeah.
uh,
Okay. Okay. Do you know what? So
oh,
what
yeah,
I would like to
listen.
do is I do think I'd like to hang on to New West. I would have
Okay.
some equity. I could take it out, and I know that I would just say that I was doing some schooling, and I couldn't afford, my mortgage, and that I have a friend that I could
Okay.
rent this out to,
Okay.
and then I would have to, I could just,
Do you think that you can do that? Because if your mortgage is okay, if your mortgage is like $2,000 a month, let's just say, and you rent it out for $2,000 a month, it actually on paper you're still liable for $1,000 because they only count half of it as your income. But what would be the point?
I guess, just to see if I could make life in
Oh,
Vancouver,
yeah.
because
But do you have to take equity out to do that?
well, no,
Like, could you rent this
I could,
place?
yeah, and I think I could rent this to cover the mortgage. Like before,
Totally,
I
totally
couldn't, I couldn't
Hmm.
really, and I think Sarah had a really hard time when they were trying to get rid of their place. But the housing now, and there's all these towers, and the waterfront is so lovely now. Have you ever gone down? Like there's beach volleyball.
Really?
There's a concession stand. There's huge chairs that are stationary
Oh, wow.
that cannot be moved, but you
Okay.
can like position them and recline them. Big wooden ones. I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's very nice. And then it's all flat, so people with wheelchairs could get around.
Oh, yeah. I get it. But
And then what? Ageism is a bad thing because people don't see you as somebody having a lot of life experience. They just see you as being old and you might have a heart attack on the job or something. Like they just
That-
like, and
no.
I don't know if they think my customers want to look at somebody young and pretty, but
But your goal is to work in the downtown east side in a
yes, yeah, that's my goal. But if I ever get there, I mean, I've been at it for a while.
But you put your resume into Rain City.
Did.
Maybe you should just keep calling back, because maybe a way to frame that is also there are a lot of people who are aging in place in the downtown east side. So to be sort of community based, it's very short sighted, I personally think, to just hire youth, because there's people of all layers
Yes,
that live there.
and because having battled depression myself, I can understand people battling an addiction, or it's not that they're being willful, or people just have different struggles, and it's not, well, they just need to do this or just need to do that, because if they could just do that, then they would.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, well, I work in the downtown east side also, so.
And so I think sometimes we need to have advice from somebody that looks like us, right? So
Yes.
if you are, 25 and like really, young and no arthritis, no nothing, and you're not wizened and you don't have those life experiences because maybe you've just, like, you're in a band and you just, your next worry is getting enough money for a tattoo. Those, you might not look like a 55-year-old alcoholic.
Yeah, and I do know that you're not running down 25-year-olds in bands and poo-pooing them. I know that you're.
Yeah,
just sometimes I feel the same way, because I sometimes feel like if everybody is youthful and you have a 60-year-old alcoholic who's trying to bring in a pal and is a bit inebriated, sometimes it adds to the lack of dignity when you have someone who's your estranged granddaughter's age
Mm-hmm.
telling
Yes.
you that you are
Yes.
barred or that you're obnoxious or that you're. Sometimes you do need to have somebody who's a little bit older, maybe sometimes a little bit gentler. It kind of
Yes.
takes the edge off the dignity.
Yeah. And sometimes somebody that's older too, they're further along in the lifespan. They don't have all their life ahead of them either. And they may have made some poor decisions in their life too. That, like, the world, when you're 55 or 60, you have a drug addiction, the world is not your oyster. Not when you're 25 and you're in a band. The world is your oyster. Everything is possible.
Yeah, I don't like to. I don't like to try to disregard if you're 50 and you are in the downtown east side. I don't like to close the coffin right there because I have a lot of people that I work with who are thinking about. It doesn't have to be the same, but it can be something brighter.
Mm-hmm. It definitely
some
can.
possibilities.
It
I
can
don't like
always
to say
be
there's
brighter.
No possibilities.
It can always be brighter, but you do have less options than somebody like you
That's
have.
fair.
You have some choices, but the world is not your oyster, and so you have to find a little meaning in maybe a few simpler things.
Yeah, I like the
And
way you
you're
put
not-
that.
And you're not as idealistic because. And also for somebody that's young, it's like, well, maybe next year I'm going to do it next. But for when you're older, it's like there's no time like now.
That's actually interestingly true. You do have to start finding meaning for yourself in different ways. You might not attach meaning to getting your PhD or possibly being in a band, or possibly you might find meaning in smaller things. Some might be more community has meaning, friends have more meaning. Some things that are closer to home start to have more meaning. But that doesn't rule out never having a little adventure.
No, it doesn't. But your little adventure might not be
moving to Bali.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you have less resources.
Yeah. But your meaning can be just as significant to you as somebody else's meaning who's just graduating med school, really, because we are all unique.
And you do kind of evolve over your
And
life.
we do evolve. And
I'm not the same person as I am when I'm 25 as I am at 45. 45. Oh my God. Yeah, no, I'm not the same person as I was. So
and the same things aren't important, like as important. You don't value. And in fact, other things are more important for you than when you're 25.
So do you think that making a move downtown is going to be, how do you feel about that? Because you say you do battle from some depression. You're looking for more community.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, I would like, isolation is a terrible cancer. Isolation causes all kinds of problems. And when you feel isolated, you don't have any meaning. There's no, like, if you're isolated, no one's counting on you to do anything. So if you are in a community and somebody calls you up and says, I could use a hand here, or you want to go for coffee, or even if you go for a walk and there's a different environment, or to just go see some different sights, and even if you're just going out, you have those little short cameos of conversations with people, those little vignettes that can actually lift your.
Oh, they definitely lift your spirits.
Especially if you're an extrovert, which I think I'm an extrovert. I don't generally.
You are an extrovert.
I don't really do that well spending long periods of time by myself. And I think sometimes too in the city, there's always more opportunities to volunteer, and there's more opportunities for working, because even the poor, everybody, they don't move out to the country to, like, they.
No, there's